first published book. Perhaps it's the first and only. I have written, this is really my memoir in poetry. It turned out to be, I didn't intend it to be, but that's how it works out. My husband, Nick, who is sitting here taking pictures, is the force behind it. He's the one who said, get poetry together in one place, because I had it everywhere. And he created this book. I created the content, and he created the book. It's called Blue Heron Woman Poems. This is a photograph that Nick took when he was in Vietnam in 2008. It's a mannequin in a store in Hanoi. Which is Amazon, so it's a self-published book. And the library owns a copy, and it keeps going out on hold, which is it's very exciting. So just before I start my spiel, I want, for those of you who are not familiar with this library, if you need to get out, you just go straight down to the lobby and to the right, and that will take you out. If you want to find the restrooms, you go straight down that hall and to the left, and they're on either side of the drinking fountain. I was thinking this morning, how do you say that in English? Is it water fountain? No, I don't think so. Drinking fountain. Here comes my grandson and my firstborn child. My firstborn grandchild and my, hey Leo, haha, you have to sit in the front. Sit on the bench with me. Hello. This is my grandson Leo. It's good to see you too. And my daughter, come up here. We're all here. If I were doing a children's program, which I do in this room every Monday morning, I would start singing, here we are together. But I won't put that on you. So my name is Gail Burlakoff. Years of my life, it was Gail Shaw, which is why there's an S. For the next 23 years of my life, it was Gail Course. And for almost 30 years, it's been Gail Shaw. I've been writing poetry since I was about 10 years old. And I think it's better today than it was when I was 10. But that feeling has been in me all those years. I feel that we sang in my family. There was a lot of poetry in my family. Spoken, read to me. My dad was a big jingle writer. Can you do me okay? first, oh gosh, I've lived in about 32 different houses in my life. In the past 30 years, I've lived in only 3. And in the past 20 years, I've lived in only 1. And it's amazing. Yeah. Can you get through there? You're welcome to sit here if you'd like to. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joyce. Wow. It's standing room only. Anyway, I moved around a lot in my family of origin and in my first marriage. So here we'll start. This is an epigram from Catherine Mansfield, and it speaks very much to my life. How hard it is to leave places. How carefully one goes, however carefully one goes, they hold you. You leave little bits of yourself fluttering on every fence, little rags and shreds of your very life. I guess I've left a lot of shreds. Litter. The first part of the book is called Peregrinations. This is a collage I made several summers ago, and there's a haiku that goes with it. Open door beckons. It was for a collage workshop, and the theme was thresholds. Open door beckons, beyond lies an adventure. I'll cross the threshold. I've done that many times. Maybe, no, not too many, but many. I was born in Hawaii in 1936. And I think that where we're born and where we live as children definitely imprints itself upon us. This is a poem that does not rhyme. Images from childhood. We take for granted what we know as children. My life was filled with gold and sweetness. Sun, sea, gentle voices, and an innocence I only now begin to understand. I remember the lotus pond in Haleiwa. A water buffalo sometimes was there, big and black, with wide, flat horns and sad, moist eyes. In the air, the sour smell of river grass and muddy water. Large, flat leaves spread like picnic cloths for dragonflies. A grayish-green bud pointed its finger at the clouds. A pale pink blossom, lotus blossoms are like this. Curved petals, cupped to hold the liquid sunshine of my childhood. This is haiku from Hawaii 1, 1936 to 1943. What did the war bring? Backyard soldiers and barbed wire. First grade gas mask drills. Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata during blackouts in Honolulu. Go away, silly one. The next little part is haiku again. The mainland, 1943-45. The mainland is the continental United States. When you live in Hawaii, that's what you call it, the mainland. A year later, snow. Christmas Eve in Silver Spring, 1943. Missouri summer. In the basement, grandmother made her grape jelly. My older brother and I, my only brother and I, went in the summers of 1944 and 1945 to the Missouri Ozarks, to the farm that my grandparents had retired to. It was wonderful. This is about that place, called It Was a Place. It was a place of warmth and cinnamon, a place where I spent the summers when I was 7 and 8. It was a place of jiggers, of oil of peppermint, rubbed on by Grandma's sandpapery hands to ease the itch. A place where her outside shoes sat on the back steps, yellow sulfur powder in them to keep away what? It was a place of apple pie, of Cornhusker's lotion by the sink, of red geraniums in the windows and blue larkspur above yellow marigolds out back. It was a place of cold goat's milk and pink marshmallow cookies, prickly with shredded coconut. A place of evenings on the front porch watching fireflies and listening to my grandfather's stories. It was a place of picnics by the creek, the flash of a copperhead, the safety of my brother's hen. It was a place of lemon pudding and canned spinach, of rain drumming on the barn roof as I lay in the hayloft, snug as kittens. It was a place of hillbilly music up the road, of Mary Poole's pump organ in her parlor, of trips to town to the feed store, concerts in the bandstand in the park, and the Saturday matinee with a hamburger and a chocolate shake at Wimpy's next to the bus depot. It was a place, hello, come and sit here.
I just said something.
It was a place of dust and cornflowers and Queen Anne's lace, of tiny daisies, fried eggs for my doll's breakfast, and pokeberries that turned my fingers purple. A place of books, James Whitcomb Riley, The Sword and the Stone, and my favorite, I Married Adventure by Osa Johnson. It was a place of love and understanding, where Grandfather dozed in his chair after lunch and Grandma was always in motion. A place with a brown wooden box on the wall, the phone. 2 longs and 3 shorts, our party line ring. You'd pick up and hear little clicks all along the way, as others did too, listening. It was a place of hard work, haying and canning and milking the cows or goats. A place where I was happy and safe, where I spent hours making a dollhouse from a cardboard box, furnished with matchboxes and cutouts from the Sears catalog. A place that stamped itself on my heart. That was the farm. We went, my father was an agronomist and on sugarcane, the soil and irrigation of sugarcane. And that's why I was born in Hawaii. We left Hawaii in 1948. We had gone back after the war. And we went to the Republic of Panama, way out in the boondocks. So this is Panama 1, 1948, 1950. She spoke no Spanish at first, so hid from children in Agua Dulce. No shorts, they told her. You represent your country. She was 11. Cantering bareback, ciruela and marañón blossoming fence posts. Ciruela is a wild plum, and marañón is the tree that bears cashew nuts. Okay. Too vain for a hat. She passed out, fell off her horse. Panama heat stroke. And then here's a poem that rhymes. Panama. Panama is mighty muggy, hot and humid all the time, and it's also muy buggy. Cucarachas creep and fly. Watch them scamper, skip and caper as I aim the flit gun at them. Flit's all gone, I grab the paper, roll it up, and deftly squat 'em. That kind of slant rhyme. Lolling in a tropic stupor, swinging slowly in the shade, in my hammock, I'm recuperating with a lemonade.
Can I ask you something?
Please.
So, have you written this poem when you were 14 and in
No,
Panama?
no. I have written that poem as a grown-up with 3 children, small children. Yeah. Okay. Then I came to boarding school in the States when I reached high school age. So here we are, 1950 to 1954, function in disaster and finish in style. This one rhymes also. When I was a student at Miss Madeira's school, it was deemed most prudent to teach the golden rule. Festina lente was the motto on our seal. It means make haste slowly, and we did, with zeal. Function in disaster and finish in style was the credo Miss Madeira taught us with a smile. I functioned in disaster for 4 long years and finished in style with roses and tears. I cry a lot. Festina lente through college, and then, I'm Gail, fly me. I flew for Pan Am. I started once again. I've functioned and festinaed in my airborne job and finished in style on Earth with Bob. A year went by, festina lente. I learned to cook my pasta al dente. Functioned in disaster. Those 9 months were wild. And finished in style with our firstborn child. Thank you. There she is. Good job, Mom. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. See, it's good to have a firstborn child. I festina lented and kept my cool and taught my children the golden rule. And when they panic, I say with a smile, function in disaster and finish in style. Writing poems are good, right? Okay. So this one is in between there. We moved to St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, and then we moved to New Jersey, and then we moved to Lima, Peru, and then we moved back to New Jersey, and then here we are, back in New Jersey. As a corporate wife, she, the consummate actress, almost lost her soul. How many quarrels must tear at her gut before she can say goodbye? Okay, that's one life ending. And here's one that some people like very much. You are where you are for a reason. She sleeps still with her shoes under her pillow. Her feet, and often her spirit, itch to move on to some promised land, to milk and honey. But all the generations that came before her and the distances they traveled over land and sea to make new homes, all the hard, callous-raising, soul-strengthening work by those she honors live on in her mind, and the voices say, halt. You are where you are for a reason. Stop, think, breathe, and be aware of who we are, where we came from, why we came. You are one of us, a courageous woman. Bless you, Jane.
Maybe would you turn over to to your husband, he can take a picture.
I think he wants to get pictures of your faces as I read to you, perhaps. And this is the last poem in the first part of the book of Peregrinations. It's called Fragile, Handle with Care. She is falling apart. Her shoulders, once so broad and strong, once where others came to cry, have hardened into glass. Cracked, transparent now, they will shatter with the weight of one more secret, one more lie. A single tear will send them splintering to the ground. She wants a shawl of bubble wrap, a layer of strong brown paper, and then a crate, custom built, and gentle hands to place her in it. And then comes part 2, which is called Reflections, with this beautiful photograph that my husband took. This is it. I'll pass it around and you can look at it if you'd like to. It's taken at the Rockefeller State Preserve Park. It's the lake there, the Swan Lake. And to me it is exquisite. It's an exquisite picture. I'll leave it, and you can look at it after. So I have a haiku that goes with that also. Branches touch water, silvery blue reflection. What is it? What then? Are you good for another 5-10 minutes? Okay. Okay, another life begins and continues. 1981, 2004, and beyond. Slowly, these are all haiku. I got a lot of haiku in here. Slowly, so slowly, she learned to trust her instincts and to walk alone. Living in the north, she had to get used to snow. Green is in her soul. Second marriage, good. Partners, honesty, laughter, and he's a great cook. She's like, come, you can sit here. I'm good. Okay. Now this is a long poem and it does not rhyme, but it's one of my favorites, I guess. It's called Lucky Life, and it's after a poem by Gerald Stern, who is a very well-known poet. He also has a poem called Lucky Life, and I used that kind of as my impetus for this. Lucky Life. Lucky life isn't one long string of horrors, and there are moments of peace and pleasure as I lie between the blows. Lucky I don't have to go back to the corporate life where I didn't belong in the first place. Each year I go by car, by plane, or simply in my mind to northern New Mexico, where I breathe the thin, cool air, rich with pinon and cedar and roasting green chiles. There I drink in the purples and crimsons of sunset, gilded and bursting with glory and light, fading to a zillion stars, and dreams of walking the mesas and shouting to heaven. This year was a crisis. I knew it when, 3 days before Christmas, the cat wailed in her carrier as we drove from 5460 University Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana, to an apartment in Old Bridge, New Jersey. I knew it when I first drove the New Jersey Turnpike at rush hour. At rush hour! Oh, I I knew it when my mother almost disappeared at my daughter's wedding, got home and collapsed from dehydration. I knew it when my husband quit his job, and there we were. My dream is a small adobe house in the foothills, golden earth sculpted and smoothed by loving hands, turquoise windows warding off the evil eye. We laugh and dance in and out the doors, under the portal, and past the acequia, bowing to the cottonwoods, spinning over slender wands of ocotillo, weaving in and out and whirling in the light, lying calm before the kiva. Dear Mesas, what will you do for me this year? Hold me and center me, lift me and sustain me. Share with me your colors, your strength, your endurance. Cushion my feet on the journey to tomorrow. Feed me your stories, your music, your wisdom. Remind me how lucky I am. Oh, lucky, lucky life. Lucky life. Spring haiku. The cardinal's song is brighter than the sunshine. Spring will soon be here. Interlude. Sorrow, like water on a stone, erodes her heart. She longs to be sand. Look at my left hand. Wrinkles, yeah, blood vessels, freckles, wedding band, life. Breathe in, breathe out. That is the secret of life. What a simple fact. We're getting there. Okay, here's a sonnet. Autumn sonnet. A sonnet seems a good poem for an autumn day. It begins early in the fragile, trembling light and builds quite steadily through the day to night, when finally I tuck it safe away. At noon, stars gold and crimson play high in the maple and then come spiraling down, landing among drifts of purple asters on the ground, forming a glowing blanket on the clay. At 3 o'clock, the children home from class whirl on the lawn in spirals, then collide, laughing and tumbling with giddy open smiles. They gather armloads, rake piles upon the grass, run back a ways to stand arrested side by side before they race full tilt and fling themselves into the golden piles. Nothing more fun than to watch children. I'm a Quaker, and I go to the Quakers. We call the place where we worship the meeting house, and we call the worship time meeting. It's not like a meeting. It's a meeting where we sit silently and expectantly, waiting perhaps to hear something from God, from the Great Spirit. I know, thank you. The meeting that I go to, that I'm a member of, is in Yorktown Heights. It's called Amawalk Meeting. It's on Quaker Church Road. And you're all welcome to come anytime that you might like to. It's a wonderful old building, 1831. And it's on the National Register. Is it the National Register of historic buildings? And it's a lovely place. And this is a poem that I wrote about my Quaker meeting. It's called Friendly Silence. On Sundays, when we come to Quaker meeting and settle into silence, into peace, it's easier to sense that turmoil's fleeting. We come here not for show or central heating. We come not as a gaggle of gray geese on Sundays when we come to Quaker meeting. We come instead for silent, friendly greeting, to wait upon the light, to seek surcease from outer turmoil that we know is fleeting. Once in the silence I heard a bird's wings beating. Perhaps it was a hawk. We work for peace and fellowship beyond the Quaker meeting. Consider that there is no point to cheating or to lying. There is no golden fleece. Be present in this moment. Life is fleeting. From one sweet hour each week of silent sitting, we gain a certain balance and a peace of minds of others come to Quaker meeting. These friends who know that life is fleeting. Some of whom are here today. This is called Writing to Light. It's a sestina. That's a particular form of poem where the last word in each line repeats in the different stanzas. So you might, if you feel like it, listen for what those last 6 words are. It's called Writing to Light. We sit in darkness, wanting light. Sounds here and outside break the silence. And still we write, heads bent, pens moving, completely focused on our work, which soon we'll read to one another. In 2 more months it won't be dark, and we'll sit again on the grass in light, reading one poem and then another, hearing the words held by the silence, not understanding perhaps the work behind the words we find so moving, until later, when our own attempts at moving someone, ourselves, an audience, fade to dark. Then, pen in hand, we'll get to work, hoping to find an inner light to guide us through the inner silence that holds us apart from one another, until our hearts can speak. Another poem, the words now flowing, moving, surfacing like divers, breaking the silence like bubbles rising through the dark, and iridescent, bursting, lovely in the light, without an outward sign of all the work, the journey it took to make them work. And why these words, this poem, and not another? Perhaps it has to do with time and light. Perhaps it has to do with constant moving from one place to the next, from light to dark. Perhaps a blend, a certain blend of sound and silence. Noise hurts. I value silence, especially when I want to work. The stillness is a friendly dark that I can work with, not that other darkness, the one that keeps me moving, frantically, desperately seeking light. Here in the dark, let's touch one another, value the silence, continue to work. Keep those pens moving, writing to light. Thank you. And this is the last, and then we'll have cookies and soda and strawberries. This is Blue Heron Woman. Silent, solitary, still, and when she spreads her wings, strong. And that's it. I love this. Thank you so very much for coming. We do have soda, and we do have cookies and strawberries, and there's a salty mix of stuff for those who don't want sweet, and we have homemade macaroons and a gift of Rocky Road macaroons. And if any of you have, I couldn't sell books here because I work here, and that would be a huge conflict of interest. But they are available on Amazon. If any of you have a book already and would like me to write in it, I would be more than happy to do so. Okay? But I just thank you so much. And I'm here every Friday all day long, so you can always bring it on Friday to the library. Thank you so much.